So hello guys and welcome back. So we are now here another deck tech, but this time I have reference from the article made by Jim Davis, a professional Magic player, in which he had 10 new deck brews for the standard with Final Fantasy set, and one of which I have chosen this one is the Bant Tribal Birds deck, which he discussed, and he said that this deck somewhat performed in their playtesting 4-1 record. That's 4 wins and 1 loss. So let's dive down how the breakdown this kind of deck would see that how it has really performed well in this format. So let's check on the lineup. We have 29 creatures, 4 enchantments, 3 instants, and 24 lands. Basically going well with the tribe and combination of cards from Bloom Burrow, which also support the bird creature type. So let's check on the lineup for the 1-drops. First up is check Sats Chocobo, which I have discussed before in the mono green Landfall deck, which is also having an appearance here. So basically it's still a bird tribal, so it has trigger with putting counters whenever a land you control enters. So along with it, we have also needed for a ramp for this build. So we have 4 Land Royal Elves that can make you her turn 2 3 mana cost or turn 3 4 mana cost creatures in this lineup. So with this kind of setup, we have some item effect in the form of a Valley Quest Caller. So this is a 2 mana cost 2/3 from Lumbaro, which is a rabbit, but it has ability that other rabbits, bats, birds, and mice you control gets +1/+1. And whenever one or more rabbits, birds or mice you control enter, scry 1. So basically a free scry would also help you fix your card draws, and also having a 2 mana cost body that pump up your other birds in your board. More so here, we have again Mockingbird, which has functionalities basing on citations, but of course copying a creature on the battlefield with mana value spent or equal to the amount of mana spent to cast it becomes also a bird with flying. And more so, copying these relevant creatures would also get you an advantage depending on situation. But of course, maybe copying Traveling Chocobo or a Valley Quest Caller will also benefit you to have more item effects that can basically pump up your other creatures in the lineup. Now let's discuss again from the previous Landfall deck is again Traveling Chocobo, which is having also a good feature set for the tribal card, which means you can cast bird spells from the top library, and also you can play lands, and you can look at it at any time. So whenever a land or bird you control entering the battlefield causes a trigger, this would trigger an additional time. So basically, 3 to cast 3 to landfall trigger effect with also casting a bird will also trigger additional effect. This also gets you to good card advantage early on and also even in the late game. With that, let's check on another 3 mana cost in the deck, which also serves as a bird tribal, but also can act as a counter, semi-counter spell or delayed counters. Is your Avian Interrupter. This creature enters, exile target spell, it becomes spotted, and spells your opponent's cast from graveyards or exile cost 2 more to cast. So basically a good way to delay maybe board swipe from your opponent. And more so, if you can sideboard in additional counter spells, then this would also help out prevent them from dealing with your board of flying bird creatures. Now let's go for the high mana cost birds in this deck. We have the new card, Choco Sticker Paradise, 4 mana cost 3/5, a legendary creature bird. Whenever one or more birds you control attack, look at as many cards from the library, and then you may put one of them in your hand, and then put any number of land cards from among them in the battlefield tap, and the rest in your graveyard. So basically, a landfall trigger again. Whenever a land you control enters, Choco gets +1 to 0 at the end of turn. Very useful in the curve, which basically gets you a gas and also gets you to fully trigger or play lands for free for this trigger. So we have 4 copies in the deck, and we have also 3 copies of Barson Book, Boko. This is a 5-mana cost human bird. Combination of human and bird in this tribal has just affinity for birds, and when enters, each other bird you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature an opponent controls. So basically, this is your removal creature. At the same time, you can cast it at a cheaper cost because of its affinity, but the function-wise, it's just only going you to have a way to deal with your opponent's threat or your board presence with this ETB effect. And more so, if you have, for example, you have a traveling chocobo on board, and then you cast him, you have another entering the battlefield trigger to do, and basically have an additional trigger for this one. Very useful in this kind of semi-combo on those two cards. And for the last of the creatures, we have Castral the Wing-Crested. It's a 5-mana cost 4/5 creature, bird scout flying with one ability that whenever one or more birds you control deal combat damage to a player, you may choose one. You may put a bird creature card from your hand or graveyard into the battlefield with a finality counter, or put a bonus counter on each bird you control, or draw a card. Very useful in certain situations. It gets you to pump all your creature birds, or you draw your card, or put another threat from your graveyard or your hand to the battlefield. So at any instance, having to curve out with this deck is basically benefiting you in the mid game and up to the late game with this high mana cost but very efficient bird creature types. Now let's take a look at the non-creatures. We have 4 copies of enchantment, side quest, Reis Chocobo. So basically, this enchantment just enters to create a 2/2 bird creature token with its ability that whenever a land you control enters, this token is +0, and at the beginning of your main phase, if you control 4 more birds, you can transform this enchantment into this one, a black chocobo, which is also a 2/2 bird that when this permanent transforms into black chocobo, search library for a land card, put in the battlefield, tap, and then shuffle. And also with the same trigger, a land you control enters, birds you control gets +1/+0 until end of turns. Very useful, also pump effect, and very aggressive to have this kind if you control, and if you'll be able to flip this into the black chocobo. And during the instance, we only have 3 main get lost as a solid spot removal to destroy enchantment, creature, or planeswalker at the cost of having the map tokens. And for your land cards, composed of course of mana fix with 4 Covenant of Swords to make sure that your bird creature spells are uncounterable. And the support also are 2 copies of Secluded Courtyard. It is similar to choose a creature type, and of course a mana fix, and which is another new card, Starting Town. This can add colorless, but it enters tap unless it is first, your second, or third of the game, and you can pay 1 life to add 1 mana of any color for the mana fix. And of course, there is a burst ticket and your Battle Phantom or your help to make sure that the curve are untapped creatures, and you have the decent color to cast starting from your first turn. And let's check on the deck stats. The color is mostly green with this line up with a little white and blue. Production is pretty much even, but I think the cost of having Cavern of Souls will really make sure that your bird creature type are fixed despite of the mana cost. And let's check on the average mana value. It's 2.53 with mostly of 2 mana cost and 1 mana cost for the highest number of cards in this deck. And lastly, let's check on the tokens. We have 2 tokens only. The bird token from the enchantment, that's 2/2 bird, and the map token from Get Lost. So I think overall I find of maybe agreeing with Jim Davis build that he said that it was performed somewhat well in this deck build that he got. But I think more so if you can come up with a decent sideboard list that can also be benefit in post sideboard games in your standard matchups. And hopefully we can see this similar tribal deck once the set is legal now to play in arena and on MTG online. And do you have any comments on this? Just let me know in the comment box below so we can discuss how this deck would fare out, or if there are any changes that you would want for this deck to maybe get the top tier reward for its delivering in the current or new standard format with Final Fantasy set. So again guys, this is the deck Bant vs Tribal with Jim Davis. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you guys on the next video.